Hello, welcome to another Sunday Crafternoon. Today we are diving into this layout by Debbie for Scrap for the Boys. And y'all, this one has a lot going on that we are going to break down as we scrap lift. So, welcome. I am Karen. I am the everything here behind a little kinder, and I am so glad that you joined me. This layout, to me, can be a little maybe intimidating or overwhelming. When you look at it, it is stunning and there's balance, and then it's like, okay, how am I going to recreate this if I don't have this kit? If you don't know, Scrap for the Boys is a kit club kind of situation where they curate some things together. And so this was curated and I don't have the pieces. So I started really kind of diving into this one and looking at it and thinking about what's there that I know I either A, own, or B, could swap something out for. And there's a lot of really good stuff going on here. One of the things that really draws me into this layout is this absolute, almost tangible texture that she's got going on. And let's talk about how I think she achieved that. So I believe, just from looking at the picture and the printout, that, and I have not gone to investigate to see if there's a video for this or anything. This is my process. This is how I take it apart. I believe that she is working on a textured white cardstock. And so that's giving us immediately a feeling of some texture. I see some inking going on back here. There's some stamping. And then I believe this grid right here, you see it there and here. I think that may be a die cut. Maybe. That's what I'm thinking anyway. And then I start noticing we have some wood pieces and these stars that are giving dimension, or I think they're wood pieces. Again, this is me thinking. I think these things. I'm not sure because, like I said, I haven't gone to investigate to dive into her process because watching other people's process does affect mine. So I'm thinking that maybe these circles could be stamps. I know that in this background, there's some stamp things going on. And so this is what I started pulling from, were the things that I knew were there that I could see. So I think what we're going to do is I think that we are going to use some spray stains. I pulled out Tumbled Glass and Uncharted Mariner. And you'll see why in a minute when we talk about my photos. And then I may use just the tiniest little bit of some scorched timber in here. That's kind of where I think I'm going. Now, one thing that I did notice in this was as you look at her layout, there are some very strong colors that pop. The reds and this absolutely gorgeous lime green. And so I'm not really sure where I'm headed yet for pop of color, but we'll get there. My photos, let's start there. My photos are from our Disney trip, y'all. I'm trying to get these done. Oh, this trip was really amazing. It was our first time back to Disney since the kids both graduated from school. 2018 was our last trip prior to this one in 2022. So it had been a minute. And we went at Christmas, so that just meant everything was decorated to the nines. Plus, in my personal weight loss journey, I was at about 80 to 90 pounds down at this point. And so I felt amazing. That was kind of the beginning of feeling absolutely amazing. And so documenting the details has been important for me. So this photo was taken, it was actually, we're at the Animal Kingdom. We were walking back to the bus, and this was on the end of one of the little buildings. And I'm not really sure what are in the buildings because they're not open. It's more like a little shed. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's where the electrical stuff is for all the lights and whatnot down there. But I fell in love with the details, the decorations. This wreath screams Animal Kingdom. But there's so many little details in it. Like, you have the traditional Christmas balls that you would find all over the United States. But then when you start looking at the ribbons and the patterns, the animals that are in the wreath, it says Animal Kingdom. And so we almost missed our bus because I stopped to snap this picture. And Thomas was like, really? And I was like, yeah, there'll be another bus in like 20 minutes, dude. It's okay. It's Disney transportation. They're not leaving us here. But I was also tired, and he was tired, and so I understood the desire to get back to where we were staying. So for me, the details were huge and important. So I want to pair this with a picture of us in front of the tree. And this is the Tree of Life at Walt Disney World at Animal Kingdom. When you come into the park, you kind of go through this really neat area of some animal enclosures. Not like a zoo kind of thing, but more of kind of a trail through nature, and then where appropriate, there may be some animals. Right off the top of my head, I can't even think of any animals that are in there. I just know that there are from past trips. So you kind of come up a hill, and as you crest this hill to go into kind of the hub area of the Animal Kingdom, you have this ginormous tree. It's a Bayabon tree, styled tree. It is not an actual tree. It was built. I believe it's concrete, but I'd have to check my Disney facts on that. But anyway, in the trunk of this tree are all of these amazing animals that have been carved and created. So this is one of my favorite kind of spots. And so we stopped and got pictures there, and through PhotoPass. And I want to kind of have my photos be like that. So this one be here, and then where this cute little bunny rabbit is will be this picture of us. I think that's going to make a really fun what am I trying to call it? Placement. Oh my goodness, y'all, words hard. So here's some other things that I pulled. Thinking about this background, there are a lot of what I would call mixed media marks. A lot of places where I might pull a stencil in. This one is from Vicki Boutin's newest collection, Discover and Create. I really like, this has very much that media mark feel. Like you would only use portions of it. So I really like it. I also pulled out this dot. It's one of my favorite dots. It's also a Vicki Boutin. It is from Color Story, I think. So pulled those out. There are stamped here some words. So I pulled out my Disney stamps from Ellie's Studio. Pulled out the word set. Pulled out, this one's called Magical Memories tab stamps. And so I thought this kind of might mix in and make some words. I also noticed in all of this that there are some elements that are stamped that maybe I could use some of these things for. So I'm not 100% sure. Again, I don't really have where I'm going yet. But we have these pieces that are very reminiscent of It's a Small World. We have the large circles in both sets that are meant to build Mickey heads with, but could very easily be textured with a kissing technique with some other stamps. So just some different pieces. And then this kind of the same way. There were some great words. This was a blast. Something to remember. Happiness plus magic. So I pulled that out. And then we're going to get into media marks. So these are actual stamps that Tim Holtz did that are kind of that mixed media mark. This one's the mini set. There are 2 sets that are bigger, like half of this is on one set and half is on another. But I'm thinking that we may pull this circle because we have some circle pieces here. I don't know. I pulled it out for that. And then the other thing that I noticed when I was looking at this piece right here is repeated over and over and over again. And it's got to be a stamp. I don't have one like that, but I have this. And I thought this might work with the whole Animal Kingdom vibe, because it's kind of that mesh, chicken wiry feel. So I also am thinking that this is a Christmas time layout, and I have all of these adorable hexies from Vicki Boutin's Peppermint Kisses collection. And so I thought maybe rather than having circles, I might pull some of these hexagons. You know, like the tree I thought would be a great one, because it would just add a little bit of an element of Christmas without, you know, really being overboard. You know, you've got the great ones that have words on them. So I was kind of thinking maybe some of those. And it would bring in the bright green color. Like, I kind of like that. Let's see what else is in here real quick. I really love that tree for this. Whoops. Don't want to do snowflakes. Santa's cute, but he doesn't quite go. There's another wordy word piece. I do kind of like that green plaid too. All right, we'll pull those. That kind of gives us a different element. And then I have washi tape Mickey heads that I thought somewhere I also have, and I may have to find them, but I also have washi tape Mickey heads that are more theme park themed. These are my ones that I did with washi tape that wasn't, ooh, that would be pretty, that didn't scream theme park, to use in places like this where we are. I kind of like the orange of that one. Sorry, my brain is focusing on other things. I do like the red because the red is very Mickey and very Disney. So that's where I think we're going. I think we're headed kind of in this. Pull out a couple more of these red ones. In this vein of, we're going to Mickify this. Can that be a word? Can we make that a word, Mickify? We're going to Mickify this to be more in line with what my photos are, but we're going to really take notes from what's here that is fantastic and wonderful and all of the things. I'm really kind of liking this. I know that's Fernwood collection washi tape because I love that washi tape. All right, so there's some elements. There's some things. Now we're going to get inky and get messy. So I am going to clear the deck and we will start working on this background. So give me just a second to clear the deck and we'll be right back. Deck's cleared. Here we are. So obviously this layout's a little different than my others because normally I say let's cut the mic and put some music in. I really kind of wanted to demystify this one because I feel like that it's one that maybe you're looking at and thinking, yeah, no, I can't do that. And I really want to break that down. So a couple of tools and things that I like to use. This is a continuous mist mister. We use these, our other business, the one that my husband, I mean, we both own it, but it's really the one that he handles the day-to-day of. we own some hair cutting salons. We own a hair cutting franchise, and this is what we use for hair. And the reason is that it's a continuous mist. And so if I take and press, you can see it's a very light mist. You could hear it if I'd stop talking. You hear that mist. And then if you look at my paper, you can see it's curling because it's got the water on it. So that was one thing I wanted to do. I want to hit my paper with water to start with. And then I'm going to use a squishy technique using this. So I've also got my Tim Holtz sprayer because that's kind of important. To me, these two do a different things. The continual mist, this one, gives me a nice, even lay down, kind of like starting point so my paper's not crispy dry. And then the Tim Holtz gives me more of like watery yumminess, if that makes any sense. So my little water droplets are trying to run away. So we're just gonna come in thinking about that kind of this area is really where we're wanting some things to happen. Now, with the spray stain, you can do it a couple of ways. You can take it out of the bottle and tap it on to your plastic, or you can spray it. Now, I will tell you that my Uncharted sprayer is totally and completely clogged. So that is going to be an issue when we get to it. I'm just putting it out there because it's going to be. Now, one thing that you've got to know going into any wet technique, and this is a wet technique, the more water and stuff that you add, the wetter your paper is going to get, and you may need to dry in between. Now, the other thing I want to mention is this. You will never, ever, 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 ever get the same results twice. Why am I saying that? I am saying that because you need to know that going into it. So I did spray a little bit there. I'm going to dry this just a hair because it's very wet. And it's not wet in a good way wet. It's actually wet in a not good way. So if I had more of a mixed media paper, if I had something like a Vicky Bouton foundation paper, scrapbook.com has a foundations type paper. It's not called foundations. I think it's called mixed media paper. It's meant to do this. I just don't have any yet. And I'm out of the Vicky Bouton in the plain. I have some of the preprints, but I'm out of the just plain white. So know that your paper matters. It really, really, really matters. So I'm not going to get this crispy dry because we'll be here till tomorrow. But you can see how it's kind of curling back now. That tells me that this is drier. So my next step is going to be to take this, and we are going to do some actual I don't want to add Uncharted Mariner yet. I'm not happy with my blue yet, and that's one of the things you have to know with this kind of a process or a product. It's going to take a minute to get to where you're happy, and just know that the really pretty things that you see, that's because they are layering them. Excuse me, I'm going to take a sip real quick. So, I follow Tiffany Salerno on Instagram and YouTube and everywhere. I've even taken classes with her where she talks about that in this process, probably 99% of the people stop too soon. They stop here, and this is not where they're happy. So, I want to find my watercolor pencils, and I'm hoping they aren't in the camera. Except I think they may be. All right, hold on. Let me find my watercolor pencils. I'll be right back. All right, back with watercolor pencils. So I actually did something that I don't recommend, and I have two sets. So my other set is in rainbow order. This one is still in set order. Why don't I recommend this? I don't recommend this because you don't really need two sets. The reason I have 2 sets is because I go between the camper and the house. And trying to have things that allow me to be in both places. Alright, so here's what I want to do. Trying to find things on my cleaned up desk is a nightmare. So this is my watercolor cup. I'm going to dump some water in here. I don't have running water in my space, so I keep bottled water. And what I want to do is I want to get this watercolor pencil crayon wet, really wet. So I'm just going to let it soak for a second, because I want a ton of water on here. Not quite there yet. And then we're going to let it do its magic. We're getting close. I'm kind of starting in this area that I know it's acting like it's what it's not doing what I want it to do. So I'm kind of starting in this area where I know that we'll have our photo and some things that are overlapping kind of what I'm doing. That way, if I don't absolutely love it, it's not that big of a deal. Although it's really interesting the way this is doing this. There we go. Now we're starting to cook with some fire. Good grief. So I'm sure you can hear the texture underneath what I'm doing. I really want some up in here. I don't know why this area is not taking the water like I want it to. The water will not affect this crayon at all. I mean, it's a watercolor crayon. It will dry, it will do its thing, and then it will be dry. You know what I bet it is? I just thought of something. These have not been sharpened down. So when they manufacture them, there is a manufacturing process. I'm not sure what it does to the point of this pencil, but I do vaguely remember hearing that you need to kind of get past that to get this to work, which would make sense as to why I'm getting the results I'm getting. Alright, so I'm going to grab a paintbrush. Ooh, that had some stuff in it. Y'all, I don't always clean my paintbrushes the best. Alright, I'm starting to see my paper pill, which doesn't make me happy, but it is what it is. So I'm going to take and put out on my table a little Uncharted. Uncharted is a very, very dark color, in case you're wondering. And so it is going to really come in here and be dark if we're not careful. I mean, like, we could be very not happy because it could get that dark. I do like where this little part's going. So I hit my Uncharted with a little bit of tumbled glass to kind of lighten it up just a hair. That is something, let me show you. So I said my sprayer doesn't work. Look, no spray. But if I turn it, I can get a blob. I don't know. I need to contact Ranger and get some more sprayers, because that one came that way. Alright, so I'm just lightening this out just a little bit, and then I'm using my paintbrush to kind of come in and dab. Hit some drops. You can see how dark it is. Alright. Now, remember I told you that this was getting super, super wet? It's super, super wet. And it's pilling, and it's This is where if I had mixed media paper, this would not do this. So I need to dry this out just a little bit more than we had it. So some other ways that you could kind of get this same effect. You could do some ink blending and you would get some color laid down without all of the water. It's not going to give you the watercolor look, but it could get you some color down in your space. Again, if I had the right paper, I wouldn't be fighting this issue. So, and you can see even where I hit just dots that this paper is not meant to have this much water on it. And a dot is not much. So, this is something that I knew was going to be a thing. And I kind of wanted to show it to you so that you weren't surprised if you got those same results. So something else to remember as I'm drying this is wet on wet will blend together. So if I try to add more ink to this, it'll blend. Wet on dry will layer. And I want layers. I don't want blends. I hope that makes sense. So if I want to have a definition, layered definitions as I'm doing this, I really want this little sucker as dry as I can get him. And that's why I'm drying from both sides of the paper. And you can see there's still a spot kind of right here that's really, really wet. So what if you don't have this cute little heat it tool? You could use your regular heat gun. You just want to make sure that you keep it far away from your paper and keep it moving. This one is, it's as hot as a embossing gun. The heat is the same. The temperature is the same. That's the word I'm looking for. Temperature. Temperature is the same. The difference is that this one is created to spread the heat out more like a hairdryer spreads heat out. Now, let's talk about the difference between this and a hairdryer. A hairdryer is going to have a much more powerful blow, meaning that there's more power going through it because it's meant to dry hair versus paper. So this is similar technology, we'll call it that now. Similar technology to a hairdryer, but it diffuses. It's got a wider mouth than your heat gun. So let's take a look since I'm talking about it. Oh my gosh, my cords. Do you see how tight that is? That is one huge blow of heat coming out. Very strong, very, very centralized. That's why embossing powders melt so quickly. This one you can see is much wider. The heating mechanism in these two are identical. They are the same thing. They go to the same temperature. You heard me say ow a second ago. That's because this little sucker gets just as hot as that sucker. My difference is that this is more diffused, meaning the air it's not being funneled down to a very hard push, but it still will get hot. And my poor little pinky finger, that is not my asbestos fingers, got a little warm. So, all right, now, where did my Ziploc baggie go? There it is. We're going to add a little bit more of this mixture right in on top to give us some layers. Remember, every time you do this process, you get a different result, meaning that they will not look identical. So if you're doing a practice page and you think, oh, I can do that too, just be aware you actually may not. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because this is not really a process that's, see, I'm thinking there, and then we'll have some stamping stuff that ties this into that. Oh, I really like this, actually. Let me get Oh, I hope I have enough over here still. Trying to find any ink left over here. There we go. Alright, I really like that. So, I am going to clean the deck again. Get rid of our mixed media parts because we are finished with that for the minute. And by mixed media parts, I mean the sprays and the water. So, we're going to clean the deck. We'll be right back. Alright, deck's cleared. Now we're moving on to some of the stamping and some of the stenciling. So, let me pull the layout back out and let's take a look at it. So we put down our first layer, which is the wash color. Now we need to come in and add some of the stamped pieces. I'm not sure in her layout that she did any stenciling. I think that may all be stamps. I want to do some stenciling. And I'm not really sure why. I just do. So there you go. So I think what we're going to do is grab some mint tape or washi tape. Let's see what I can put my hands on. Washi tape it is. I'm never sure what I can grab out of my drawers. And I want to kind of tape off. We're going to use these triangles. They're calling to me. They're saying, use me, please. That would be perfect. So what I'm trying to do is tape off some of these that I don't want, and I'm a little scared that as I'm blending, ooh, I am almost out of washi tape. That my concern is as I'm blending, we will end up with ink in them, and that's, you know, that's just stray marks that I'm not super excited to have. All right, maybe that'll be enough. So, color-wise, what do I want to do down here? Now I want to have it coming off the paper. Maybe we build. So let's start with tumbled glass. This is regular distress ink. This is not oxide. Ooh, that's kind of pretty. I'm not going to move my stencil, but I'm going to change over to Uncharted. Pick up a little bit of that, and up here, kind of want to hit some of these with darker. Look at that. Alright. The other thing I kind of think I want to do. Let's see what this does. I may hate it, but we'll see. Oh no, I like that. Alright, so I did kind of a off thing where I took my ink, my Uncharted. I did pull out Broken China even though we didn't use that. Okay, I am going to apologize. If you can hear the trash truck, it's trash day here. It just is what it is. Up here, I want this to be lighter. So I'm not going to put as much ink. But right down here, I really want this to be good and deep and inked. Ooh, you can really see the richness of that Uncharted coming out. Okay, I like that. Kind of want to see if I can grab this little group here. This is the other thing that I really kind of like about stencils, is that you can move them around and kind of get different pieces. Now, where is my photograph for right here? Where did I put my photo? They're there. Because if I have this here, right here, start out pretty light, and then I want to get into some dark here where the dark is. So really light. As light as I can get with Uncharted, because it's going to be darker. And then, look, when we go to put our photo over it, so cool. Right. Now, I'm going to grab some scorched timber. Do some of these dots in here, just really light. We don't have any brown anywhere yet. So I don't want to overpower what we've done. I just kind of want to break up the edge of that. See how that just added a little bit of texture? So we're going to come back and we're going to do the same thing down here. Don't need it to be huge dark. Now y'all, some people like to tape their stencils down and blah blah blah. You do you, okay? Don't feel like you have to do it like I'm doing it, because probably, if I'm being real honest, not necessarily the best way to do it. But I do what I do because it works for me, and I want you to do what you do because it works for you. Little random dot that's up there. I'll do the same thing over here. Alright. So this is the brand new color. I learned along the way a long time ago just to embrace whatever the new color is and go with it. Oh, see. Okay. I know a lot of people were like, oh, another brown, but y'all, this brown to me is like walnut stain and vintage photo had a baby. This color to me is perfection. It is probably, no, there's no probably about it. It is going to be my go-to brown. My brown for edging. Oops, those are going to fall off and I don't know if I still need them or not. It's going to be my brown for edging things. It's going to be a good brown for stamping. All right, now I want to add some of this in. And this is going in scorched timber. Nobody panic when you see what I'm doing. So I'm not using a stamping block. I'm not even really caring where the ink's going. I mean, I can see where it's lighter and darker. And now I'm going to hit it with a little bit of black. Now, this is where it's probably going to freak some people out. Roll. Because I don't want, like, big, hard stamp pieces. I do need a little bit more up here. There's that. I'm going to do kind of the same thing down here. I'm going to re-ink because I want to hit this area over here. That's a little too. That's my fault. That's okay. Let's still do the same thing. So what I didn't think about doing, and I've got it all over my hands, is creating any kind of a curve so that this, I'm trying to think how to explain that, so that it doesn't give a straight line, because those are very straight lines, and I really didn't want straight lines. I wanted more of an organic edge on a straight lined stamp. So there's a way you can do that where you make sure that the ink is on there more organically, and I just didn't. So It is what it is, my friends. It is what it is. And nobody's going to have this original that they're going to hold up against mine. Or at least I hope you aren't. Even though it's up there in the corner. And we're looking at it as I'm working. Alright, get this back in here. I will say these large textured backgrounds from Tim Holtz are some of my favorites. I use them lots. Alright, so now we've kind of got this going on. I'm liking where the background's going. Now I want to do some actual stamping of some things. And so I'm going to grab these, my media marks. I want this circle stamp right here. I am going to grab this big huge block so that my big old huge jumbo fingers can be out of the way. But I want to do thinking we're going to do this in Uncharted. Yep. I do. So we're going to ink it up with Uncharted. This is about where I want my photo. Okay. That gives me placement. So that's kind of where the edge of my photo is going to be. Over here, we're going to kind of do the same thing. Stamp here. Kind of fade it out. I did not fade this one out. Stamp it where I know my photo is going to be. And then we're going to fade it a little bit. And that way when we put our photo back in, got a little more interest. See, this is when I can, like, when I'm doing the other videos, I'm doing the ones where I don't talk through the whole thing. This is where I can stop and, like, look at the original and look at what I've got and be like, okay, do I need to do anything else? Do I need to not do anything else? Like, what's happening kind of thing. Let's put that one back up. My fingers are big time inky. I'm going to grab a wipe. So this is just it's not a Clorox wipe, but it's that kind of product. This one just happens to be something we use in our hair cutting salons. It is a hydrogen peroxide based product, so it's not as rough on your skin, but it helps get the ink off when you're working. So there it is. All right, so we've got this here. Really kind of love how that's going. This ginormous sketchy thing go kind of right there. And I think I want to do it in Uncharted, but I think don't really want it to be Uncharted bold. I mean, not Uncharted, Scorched Timber bold. Scrap paper. Stamp it off once. Yeah, that would have been too dark. Kind of put this where I want it. And I kind of want this to be right here in this area. Kind of like that. Ooh, I like that. Maybe we do this down here too. Take my scratch paper and stamp it off one time. All I'm doing is getting off some of the really, really heavy ink. I want this one to go like this, and that, and that. Actually, I may go full strength with this one. So this is really fun because you're just kind of playing and you're going, okay, I like that. We're going to add this. We're going to do this. We're going to blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of some back and forth playing. I'm going to switch out of scorched into tumbled glass. I'm going to wipe this off just in case I have a bunch of scorch on the sides. All right. I'm going to do tumbled glass. I kind of want to do some connecting things. So things that are going to draw us back up to this section up here. And because it's in that really light color that we used to start with, see how it's just pulling us back up? It's kind of connecting the two. Really like that. Alright, I'm done with you. Now, let's start looking at words, because that's kind of the next thing that they did, is they pulled in some words. And the words are in a completely different color. And I'm trying to decide how bold I want to go and how brave I want to be. Because, yeah. I am thinking, what if we pulled in green? And I am thinking, so we've got these greens. Let's go here. That's twisted citron. It's a little light. Mowed lawn. We're gonna go mowed lawn. Yep, 100% mowed lawn. It's kind of what I was thinking in my head, but I didn't say it. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled twisted just in case, but I really think, because these are the actual ink colors. This is where I use the Ranger labels and labeled them. I mean, the twisted would work, and we may use a little bit of it. That's why I grabbed it. But let's move these little guys out of the way again. And let's start looking for words. I really like this happiness plus magic. Oh my goodness, it won't come out. Really love this happiness plus magic. I also really like this something to remember. Let me look over here and see if there's anything else. Thinking for what we're doing, this happiness plus magic is what we want. Okay. So we're going to put this on here again. Line it. I'm going to use my little lines on here to line him up. Alright. Now, I think I want to do some down in here. Let's grab one. So this is going to be our pop of color in that original. We see red. This is going to be our pop of color. It's going to be green. I like how that green is just popping. It's just a popping, popping, popping. my mowed lawn is a little bit juicy, so I'm getting a little bit more than I wanted in the realm of ink smearing. But I'll be okay with it. Kind of like that. All right, let's lay our photos on here and see where we're at. Between the A and the T. Look at that. All right. Loving that. All right, now we're to the point where I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut the mic, give us a little bit of music, and I'm going to put the rest of this layout together now that we've done all the hard work. So let's put this back up so we don't lose it. And then, yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to cut the mic, turn on some music, speed up the video, and we will put the layout together. Be back in a second. Here it is. Okay, so I did a whole lot more talking in this video than I normally do, and I hope that that helped you understand a little bit of the process, maybe demystify this layout a little bit. I still made this one very much one of my own while staying with quite a bit of the elements that are in that original layout. My title's in the same general area. I have a very large photo, and then she had used embellishments here where I have a second photo. But I really like how this one turned out, and I really liked how you can take a layout and pull apart the things that you really like and use those things, you know, keep what serves you, and then do away with the things that you're not loving, or maybe you don't have the products to make. So here it is. She's a finished. Another one for our Disney book. I am super excited. I really like how this one turned out. I really feel like it kind of has that Animal Kingdom at Christmas vibe. Just the textures and the colors. Yeah. Really, really like it. Thank you so much for being with me today as we put this one together. It is a little different than my other videos. So if this was your first video to watch with me and you're thinking, good Lord Almighty, she talks a lot. No. Mostly in my card videos or my tutorial videos do I do all the talking. I tend to like to do the speed up and watch me do it for my scrapbook layouts. But I wanted to do this one a little different because I really wanted to dive into all of the goodness that Debbie has in our inspiration layout. So down below, there are links to my favorite places to shop. They are affiliate links, no additional cost to you, but it does help me out tremendously. And I appreciate every single one of you who's clicked on one of those links and used it. These adorable little leaves sprinkles are from This Calls from Confetti. This is the just released in January fresh bean mix. Now you can tell I've not used many of the beans. They're really kind of big, and I don't drink coffee. It's not really a thing for me. But those leaves and those heart to me scream Animal Kingdom. So I had to have them, and here they are in my layout, just adding a little bit of dimension where needed. So my friends, make sure you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed so that you can see all of the goodness that is coming out on my channel. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I also have an email newsletter, so I'd love for you to be in all of those places as well. Share this video out for me. Let all of your Disney loving friends or scrapbooking friends who are trying to scrapbook Disney layouts check out what's going on here. I have a huge favor to ask. I am trying to hit 1,000 followers this year, and I can't do it without you. So those little requests, the please like, the please share, the please subscribe, they really, really mean the world to me when you do, and they are super important for me to hit my goal because I can't do it without you. It's the whole reason I'm here, whether you believe it or not, is because of you and sharing what I'm doing, how to break apart scrap lifts so that they can be yours when you see something fantastic out there on the internet and you want to make it yours. So I am so grateful that you were here. I thank you for your time today. I know this one was longer. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you want me to just close my mouth and put the music on? Totally okay with that. My friends, until we are together in the next video, go make some memories. Bye-bye.